So let's switch topics a little. I'm sure you're probably tired of being asked about this, but social media. I know as a parent, I started the drill when the kids were about 10 about you got to be careful. You got to watch what you say. You know, this will haunt you the rest of your life, all blah, blah, blah. So what do you think? Do athletes need social media training? Let's start with Carrie, Joe, because I don't think you've had a chance to talk yet.
I don't feel that as student athletes we need a specific training course, but I do think it needs to be addressed. Like, it's something that needs to be said. But at this level, I feel like as student athletes, we know that we're held to a higher standard. So we know that we need to fulfill that, and we know what should and should not be put on social media.
Jordan, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting topic because everything that comes with collegiate sports is preparing us for the next part of our lives. And with that being said, there's going to be employers looking at your social media in a couple years anyways. So why not get that training now? And why not practice good etiquette now? So in like the case of coaches following you or administration following you, I think it should be allowed because quite frankly, your employers are going to be looking at that later.
I think there's some private space that should be off bounds of. For instance, I use Facebook for family, Twitter for business, LinkedIn is like something in between. I don't know. That's probably, where are you all at on those kind of things? Do you have opinions?
Well, I don't
Jeff?
think, I mean, the name social media means it isn't private. Obviously, you can't think that what you're writing or something is, someone's not going to see it, though. I think that the training is absolutely essential. And because, I mean, I see people sometimes in what they say, and I'm like, well, do you ever want to get a job? Ever? Because you'll want to delete that. So.
And is it ever deleted, really?
Yeah.
As some of our celebrities have recently learned, once you put it out there, it's out there for life. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Who has had training on their campus? Bethany, what did you do?
We actually do I think it's either the first week of school, we have like a welcome back mass at Canisius, and part of that is like a social media, I wouldn't necessarily call it a training, but it's kind of like a fun type thing where, I mean, at this point we all sort of know, like, be smart about what you're saying, like what you're posting, what pictures you're putting up. But as part of like the fun factor that we do is that our like social media, whoever's in charge of that, goes through over the summer and finds inappropriate tweets or pictures. And actually, it started with, it was the first year it was just like the tweet or whatever with the handle blurred out, so we didn't know who it was. Well, this year he stepped it up a notch and actually put the person's name right attached to it. So hopefully, I mean, there's always that one person that, you know, makes a wrong decision. It's not like they do it like on purpose, but still they're representing the school, and it's kind of like, you know, you're calling them out, but at the same time it's like, okay, like we all see it, you get a laugh, but like don't do it again, sort of thing.
Emily, did NCAA talk to you about it at all?
Yeah, they've addressed it to us, especially when we go away to bigger conferences, especially in Indianapolis and everything like that at the home office. We're there not only representing Division I athletics, we're representing our conference and we're representing our institution. So they've really been down on whether you address it in a good way. And they love social media. It's a way to get information out. Obviously, you've seen lately, just stuff blows up. It's an easy way to move information. So they're not frowning upon us tweeting about being at Indianapolis, but tweet about you being at a conference, not at a social event that may be frowned upon later on. So,
Kevin, what did they tell you at Manhattan?
Well, we didn't have a specific training for social media at our NCAA compliance meeting at the beginning of the year. Our athletic director came in and actually made us take out all of our phones and go on social media, and he went from person to person on the swimming team and said, what social medias do you have on your phone right now and which ones are open? And then like we would have to like take out our phone and see, like, we have Facebook open, we have Instagram open, we have Twitter open. And he said, and basically just said, don't get caught putting anything stupid on there, because it's going to come back to haunt you, not only in school but in the future when you're trying to apply for a job. Because it is true that even though you might have a private page, but there are still people out there who can see it, like people who you are friends with. You can have a private Facebook page, but if you're still friends with over 200 people, who's to say that they're not going to copy your page and then pass it along to somebody else who's not friends with you? So nothing's secret on social media. Everything's basically free game. So it's just good to like be careful what you put up there for the future.
We at Marist emphasize a lot on the idea of a personal brand. So it's okay to have social media. You just have to use it responsibly and think about your own brand and what you're putting out. Not only like attached to your brand as Marist, especially as athletes, but you just have to be conscious of what you're displaying to everybody else.
And how'd you position your brand?
I think I've done it pretty well. I am active on social media. Follow me. But I really am conscious about what I put up, mostly because my mom follows me. But yeah, I think I've done it pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it.
About you, Megan?
We kind of have like the same thing when we go for our compliance. We talk about social media. They pull up pictures of people every year and show them. But something we stress that I think a lot of people forget about is it's not always what you're posting, it's what other people can post of you as well. So like photos can come that you don't even know that you're in until somebody includes you in them, and so that kind of thing, you have to be aware all the time of who's going to be putting you on social media.
I always tell the staff, no cameras. No cameras. Oh, no. Sometimes you need a little private space. Victoria, what's the worst experience you've had on social media as an athlete?
As an athlete, I personally haven't had any problems. I know that our coaches have spoken to us about some situations that have been going on within our team and other teams, and they reprimanded us. They tell us, this is out here for everyone to see. You guys have to be careful. But really at Monmouth, what they try to do is they try to get us to get excited about, the athletics in the school and really brand ourselves that way and, get the school out there. So they encourage us to, go to other games and take Instagram pictures of yourselves at like the field hockey game. So like the track team took a big picture at the field hockey game, or softball came to the MAAC cross country championships and they had signs. They took pictures of that. We tagged Monmouth sports in it, MAAC, that's what we refer to as our SAAC organization, and they really try to put a positive spin on it, more to encourage you that way to think, if we're going to talk about social media more positively, you'll be less deterred to use it in a negative way. But there also are like strict consequences when you use it the wrong way. Some kids have gotten suspended from things like that. Like it gets taken very seriously. So.
No, and it does have to be monitored because as part of our charge is to keep you all out of trouble, and we want to educate you. That's why you're at college, and part of that is social media, unfortunately. What's a social media platform that I don't know anything about, which is probably quite a few, but tell me something I don't know. I always ask my staff, tell me what I don't know. What's new? What's
Like Snapchat or Yik Yak?
Yeah,
I'd say
Snapchat.
Snapchat's probably a big one.
Yik Yak's pretty good.
Yik Yak got really big at our
Yeah,
school.
is that where everybody is now? And what's that do? Tell me.
Yik Yak is an anonymous Twitter feed.
Oh, really?
Basically, you're allowed to post something, but no, it cannot link back to you like with a name. Obviously, they could probably link you back with like an IP address and like all that kind of stuff. But you could be linked. You can't be linked back, and people can up and down your comment based on if you like it. It's becoming really serious on college campuses just because it's anonymous. You don't know who's posting
People
it, who's
can hide
saying it.
behind a keyboard. And
Yeah.
it's-
It
It
like
gets
goes by
snarky
becomes
quick.
very degrading to
Yeah, that's what I'm
some people
wondering.
on campus, and I mean,
It's made for college campuses because it only shows everything within a 3-mile radius.
Oh, really?
So
That's interesting.
It gets blacked out.
Ryder has their own Yik Yak. Niagara has their own Yik Yak. Winnipeg has their own Yik Yak. So
Interesting. So, as athletes, occasionally we get criticized, right? Because of a performance. And it's
unjustly.
hard not to take it personal sometimes. Have you ever given back a snarky response to a play that you might have blown, or because I know occasionally I get criticized by a few fans, and I've been known to maybe get a little snarky myself. So how do you manage that? How do you take that criticism? Nora?
Oh, that's so funny that you raised your hand too. I was going to say, as a rower, and I'm sure Cameron knows, we're very used to being constructively criticized. The whole time we're in a boat, we're being constructively criticized, yelled at. So I know us at Marist and probably you at Fairfield, try and take it for what it is, and that it's not a necessarily negative comment. It's probably just being said to help you. So you need to take it in and understand that it's not a personal attack, and it's just to help you be better. That way you can help the team be better.
Cameron?
Well, I have a very, not personal, but I have a vendetta against Yik Yak just because it's such a coward's way out. Like, if I have a problem with you, Rich, I'm going to look you in the eye and be like, Rich, I have a problem with you. But that's not what's going on in Yik Yak, is these cowards are hiding behind their keyboards, and, you know, anyone can be a
Taking
big
shots without having to get it back.
Yeah, anyone can be a big man behind a keyboard, so I just don't think it's very constructive for college
Kevin,
campuses.
what do you think?
Going back to what Nora was saying, like how it's criticism, I also feel that who it comes from also plays a big part in it. Like if it's like your coach or a teammate saying something to you, it's obviously there to help you. It's not there to put you down because they want you to do well. But if it's just like some other person like on campus who just who just saw me in a swim meet and said something to me, and it was kind of like degrading, I would kind of just like let it roll off my back. Like I would obviously think about it because it was a comment made to me, but I wouldn't think too much into it because, you know, I mean, they only know so much about like what I do at practices and what I do at meets and how I prepare.
Right.
So I feel like it really
Well, as
comes from where it
leaders,
comes
right?
from.
You have to, as student athletes, leaders on your own campuses and leaders on your team, you have to sometimes step back and say, all right, I just give myself 60 seconds before I respond, you know, count to 60.
I can go off what Kevin said, it being a swimmer as well, where our sport is only really recognized every 4 years when Michael Phelps takes the block.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of underlying stuff that happens with swimming, and a lot of stuff. I've had comments made towards me about, oh, you're just doggy paddling all day, aren't you, back and forth? And I was like, so I approached a couple of these people and I told them we have a giant window outside of Niagara's pool and you can look in at it. So I was like, while you're walking to practice tomorrow, look in that pool and just see what I'm doing. And I've actually had people come on the deck and see and apologize to me because they see that I'm standing there huffing and puffing, red, puking, crying, getting yelled at. They just realize there's ins and outs of every sport. I probably wouldn't understand everything about field hockey that they go through, but you can give constructive criticism, but take it in a good way, spit it back as respectful as you can if you do, or just let it roll off. But understand that everybody goes and handles things differently.
Yes, Jordan.
I think the softball girls would agree that it, as with any sport, but in softball, you fail 70% of the time, and you're pretty good in that case. So it's also in the context of your sport. For that being said, if you do mess up, if you do lose a game for some reason, you're going to get a lot more opportunities, and you have to take that criticism, regardless if it is constructive or not, and prepare for that next pitch or that next play.
I think you're right, and certainly you learn from your mistakes, and you learn from being able to take some criticism. Although you do recognize for the high-profile athletes how difficult it must be when you're and I'm not even talking about college athletes. When you're 24/7 in the glare, it's constant, and it's a real challenge.